My guest today, Haymanot Alamu, actually was my guest way back in October of 1998. Haymanot was a great actor, stage director, and an eloquent speaker. He died this week after a short illness. And here are snippets from the interview from 16 years ago.
Now entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe. From camp to camp, through the foul womb of night, the hum of either army stilly sounds, that the fixed sentinels almost receive the secret whispers of each other's watch. Fire answers fire, and through their paly flames each battle sees the other's umbered face. Steed threatens steed, in high and boastful neighs piercing the night's dull ear. And from the tents the armorers, accomplishing the nights, with busy hammers closing rivets up, give dreadful note of preparation. The country cocks do crow and the clocks do toll, and the third hour of drowsy morning name. Proud of their numbers and secure in soul, the confident and over-lusty French do the low-rated English play at dice, and chide the crippled tardy-gated knight, who like a foul and ugly witch doth limp so tediously away. The poor condemned English, like sacrifices, sit patiently by their watchful fires and inly ruminate the morning's danger. And their gesture sad, investing lank lean cheeks and war-worn coats, presenteth them unto the gazing moon. So many horrid ghosts. Oh, now who will behold the royal captain of this ruined band, walking from watch to watch, from tent to tent? Let him cry praise and glory on his head. For forth he goes and visits all his host, bids them good morrow with a modest smile, and calls them brothers, friends, and countrymen. Upon his royal face there is no note how dread an army hath enrounded him, nor doth he dedicate one jot of colour unto the weary and all-watched night, but freshly looks and overbears a taint with cheerful semblance and sweet majesty, that every wretch, pining and pale before, beholding him, plucks comfort from his looks, a largess, universal, like the sun. His liberal eye doth give to every one, thawing cold fear, that mean and gentles all behold, as may unworthiness define, a little touch of Harry in the night. When I grew up and I started to see films, I would try to find anything. I could find tapes, films, and the person that really inspired me and pulled me to the world of Shakespeare was Lord Laurence Olivier, who stayed my idol for the rest of my life. And even when I do Shakespeare, I steal a little bit from his techniques. I came back, and of course I had the very best training, I would say, in theater in the United States, trained in the finest university, in the finest theater, the Tyrone Guthrie in Minneapolis. So as soon as I finished my studies, I was so eager to come back, and be on the stage in Ethiopia. So when my friends left for Hollywood, I left and came here. And I was very gung-ho about what I'm going to do in Ethiopia. So I went over to the National Theater to ask for a job, because there weren't that many theaters, as you know.
And it was not a rosy reception, was it?
Oh, it was a terrible reception. I had what they call a rude awakening. I presented my case. I said, I have a Master of Fine Arts, the only one in Ethiopia, and I'm professionally trained, and all of that. And the guy just looked at me and he said, we don't need you. I said, what? You don't need me? I said, what do you mean you don't need me? I mean, this is the only place I could come to. It's not like other professions where I could go somewhere else and get a job. But I couldn't get a job. He said, the people we have are enough, so no job. This at the National Theater, and that is a shot done in America.
ሰው የሚባል ሰብአዊ ፍጡር ብጣችን ያደርከቶም አልገባናለ በዘልማድ ብቻ ሰውን ሰው ውሻን ውሻ ብለን አሜን ብለን መቀበል እንጂ ሰው የሚባል ረቂቅ ሰብአዊ ፍጡር ሰው የሚባል የእግዚአብሔር ተፈጥሮ ተአምር ያደርከቶም አልገባናለ
This is indeed a very interesting segment, don't you think? You filmed this, you played this in America.
Yeah, when I was in exile in America, I organized the first Ethiopian theater company outside of Ethiopia. And that's one of the plays we did. We did excerpts from Mother Courage and Petros, and we put it on videos and toured the United States and tried to kind of keep Ethiopia's language and culture alive. First of all, I organized my own theater company and doing plays in Amharic. And second of all, I got back into professional theater after so long and tried to catch up with some of my friends. And I had a very successful run. I won a lot of awards. So it was good to go back. I would say theater saved my life in exile. Because I am a highly professionally trained actor, and I owe it to my profession to do something that I think I should do. If it's not done professionally, then it's very hard for me to do it. During the time of the Derg, I left the theater and went into business, tourism business, and all of this because the plays that were coming were just, propaganda plays, and I hated playing those. I hated preparing those. So luckily, I never did a play that I did not believe in. So I thought that if I can't do it the right way professionally, then I should do something else. It's the reality. You can't always do what you like in a developing country. The opportunities are limited. The theaters are limited. The pay is limited. I mean, in Ethiopia, you don't get a big pay for being an actor. You get a big pay for being a general manager. So that role has switched where actors today, Dustin Hoffman makes $5 million a film, and. So I was able, the other thing that's nice is that I was able to come back this time when I returned from exile and went directly to the university, and I taught for 3 years at the university, and that was wonderful. When I came back from the States, I felt that the audience needed something to make them laugh. Everybody looked, from 20 years of the Derg, everybody looked so grim. So I thought, let me do something that's pure comedy, that's universal in nature. So I did a translation of Twelfth Night. Its title was Wazema, and it ran for 2.5 years, sold out every day. And I saw every performance for 2.5 years and enjoyed it myself. So
because there's that a box office hit?
Yes, I think so, and also long running in a box office hit. But somehow I had the finest actors at the National Theatre who have worked with me. Some of them my former students, so I knew what I could get. As soon as I put a team together, and we also introduced the Muslim culture on the stage for the first time in Ethiopian history, showing Adare costumes and things like that, and literally having Christians falling in love with Muslims. And it worked very well, and everybody came, and I was very...
This was produced in America?
Yeah, this was produced in America. The role I play is the role of Shumbash, who's a sellout to the Italians. It's talking about people when they're tortured. What happens to them?
ተመርመራ ተወስዳ ከሳምንት በኋላ የተመለሰች ሴትነቷን ተለክፋ ክብሯን ተቆሽሻ ባሏ ቀና ብሎ እንዳያት ግንባሩን መሬት ተክሎ ቅስሙን ውጦ ልጆቹን ስትስም ሞት የሳማቸው ያህል ስትዘገንነውና የወኔውን መኮላሸት ስታስተማምነው
So you basically directed and had a part in this play?
Yes, I directed that. I was the founder of the company. I worked on the costumes. We didn't have too much money because we were in exile, and these productions, maybe we spent $1,000 on each, which is peanuts for that kind of thing, because some of the costumes you see here are actual authentic Italian costumes that we borrowed from a film company. I am an actor, definitely. All actors, as they get old, become directors, and good directors are usually former actors, because you would give an actor something that will work. The problem with directors who've never been actors is that they tell you to do things on the stage, but they really don't know if it will work or not. So you have to do a lot of trial and error. But if it's a director, then he'll give you something that will work. So primarily I consider myself an actor. wonder, believe me, sir, a real wonder. 38 caliber, cheap special, stainless, model 60, double action revolver. 5 shots, 2 inches, 6.5 inch overall. Then he was one, resists rust, pitting and corrosion for a lifetime of use. You can slot this revolver, sir, through rain, muck, slush, salty sprays and swamps. Wet, humid conditions that would rust out even the best blued or nickeled gun hardly touch this new Smith & Wesson 38 caliber cheap special stainless model 60. Barrel, frame, cylinder, screws, springs, and every part in it except the walnut stock are machined from solid stainless steel. And potent, so you're asking me, sir. You fire as fast as you can trigger with this gun. Bang, 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 shoot and
Very interesting role.
What were the circumstances that led you to be to act in this The Avenger?
This is fantastic because it's like your earlier question. I went from not doing theater for some time. When I went to America, I had to. This was the professional acting I got into, and it was really amazing because this is a story of a man who finds his wife with another man in bed in their home, because he goes back in the middle of the day to tell her that he got a raise. Fat guy there loves money. So when he finds them together, he says he's going to shoot them. So he goes to a gunsmith to buy a gun to shoot them.
But that's when he comes to you.
He comes to me, and I'm trying to sell him, the most expensive gun, and I didn't realize the guy is such a miser. And in the end, at the end of the play, he doesn't end up buying a gun. He buys a mousetrap because he just didn't want to leave without buying anything. And this was a wonderful thing for me because I won a very prestigious award in Washington, D.C. called the Mary Goldwater Award for this character. And that award for outstanding contribution to acting in the Washington, D.C. area, that led to a bigger job at the arena stage. So I like what I'm doing right now, and I'd like the government to help me open a private theater, because there are many areas in Addis Ababa that there is no entertainment of any kind. You go to Shola, you go to Sidiskilo, there is nothing. So I think now, as we go into the free market thing, I think private theater should be encouraged and subsidized. The big thing that discouraged us was the taxation on arts, which was 47%. And we screamed for the last 5 years, and finally it's now come down to 17%, which would make it feasible for us to open private theaters. I am getting old, but I'm trying to get used to the marvelous things that come with age. Part of it is maturity, and part of it is having a more realistic outlook on the world. I have one experience that I relate every once in a while. A friend of mine called George Ostraska, who is a brilliant actor. And Minneapolis were doing Macbeth, and he was playing Macbeth. And what happened is that we didn't know that he had a heart situation. So as we were performing, and the audience is there, he sat on the throne, and his eyes, were glazed over, and he was dead. And we didn't know as actors that he was dead, and we kept on. Because this happens usually, an actor may forget his lines, so you try to cover up for him and say, my lord this, my lord that, and we do things that to cover up, to give him time to catch up and remember his lines. Recover. And he was not there to recover, and the curtain closed, and so that was one experience that I always remember from the stage.
This day is called the Feast of Crispian. He that outlives this day and comes safe home will stand a tiptoe when this day is named, and rouse him at the name of Crispian. He that outlives this day and sees old age will yearly on the vigil feast his neighbors and say, tomorrow is St. Crispian. Then will he strip his sleeves and show his scars. Old men forget, yet all shall be forgot. But he will remember with advantages what feats he did that day. Then shall our names, familiar in his mouth as household words, Harry the King, Bedford and Exeter, Salisbury and Gloucester, be in their flowing cups freshly remembered. This story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispian shall ne'er go by from this day until the ending of the world. But we in it shall be remembered, we few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition. And gentlemen in England, now abed, shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap, whilst any speaks that fought with us upon St. Crispin's Day.